The show this week is sponsored by iTunes. No, it isn't, but the Made of Things podcast is up on iTunes, and you can subscribe to it. But just because you could, does that mean that you should? Yes. Yes, it does. Made of Things podcast on iTunes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 25 of the Made of Things podcast. Yay! Jubilee! Rejoicing! Religion! Welcome to the show, everyone. It's Jubilee, I guess. 25, is it always a Jubilee? I don't know. It depends on whatever the religious people decide. This week on the show, we have Sleaford mods as guests. So get ready to do some Sleaford modding, whatever that means. But, you know, whatever. Get ready for whatever, as you should, always. But before we get to Jason Williamson and Andrew Fern of Sleaford Mods, today was February the 19th, which marks 1 year after the passing of Harris Whittles. I wrote an article about him for a Portuguese cultural website called Cardinal, and never really got around to reverting it back into English, so here it is now for your information, or I hope enjoyment, really. I will never write as proficiently or profoundly about Harris Whittles than Aziz Ansari. However, I felt the need to be one of many to pay tribute to him after his death. Harris Whittles was an important person to me, even though I never got to know him in person. Nevertheless, and as with many of the comedians in the world of podcasts, this does not prevent, in practice, that you get to know a person. In fact, I believe you can know someone deeply through podcasts, only that it's just not a mutual thing. And the openness with which Harris spoke of things and of himself further deepened this one-way relationship between the listener and the person speaking. Harris was only 30 and was becoming an established screenwriter. I would say he was one of the main people responsible for how profoundly funny the now defunct Parks and Recreation was, especially for many of the non-sequitur jokes on that show. And Harris also often collaborated with Sarah Silverman and wrote for Eastbound and Down. He also had this hilarious band with Paul Rust and Michael Cassidy called Don't Stop or We'll Die. Imagine Ben Folds writing comedy songs, pretty much. I would say that description fits them pretty well. And I should also recommend that you look up some shorts that Harris did with other great talent that originated in the Upright Citizens Brigade. This to say that Harris was growing as an artist and was about to make things even more relevant for, shall we call it, a larger audience. But it was in podcast form that Harris showed how deeply silly he was, being tremendously funny and a bearer of a giant heart. On Comedy Bang Bang, he used to do Foam Corner, on which he cracked a somewhat secondary line of jokes with some degree of disengagement, because he didn't consider those jokes to be even good enough to go up on Twitter. And so much of Foam Corner was those jokes being told only to be shut down by Scott Aukerman, host of Comedy Bang Bang. Also on Comedy Bang Bang, Harris was part of the cast of guests on the Farts and Procreation episodes, along with Adam Scott and Chelsea Peretti. This was a series of frankly bizarre podcasts, and it was on Farts and Procreation that Harris mumbled this very odd question that I will never forget. And he was going to say, "How's Wendell?" because of... I wouldn't call it a narrative, but because of what they were setting up until then. But then Harris ended up asking, "How's Window?" How's Window? And I personally just thought it was so stupid that I love it, and thought it probably, even though it probably makes even less sense to you now if you're listening to this. So go and listen to the shows. It makes it slightly less senseless, I guess, but not too much. And Harris was also the co-author of the podcast Analyze Fish, which tried to convince Scott Aukerman and the guests on the show to start enjoying the band Fish. And all of these things and all of these shows are things that I highly recommend, so go check them out. On February the 19th in 2015, Harris was found dead of possible or probable drug abuse. At that time, I personally was not aware of the recent heroin addiction he developed sometime in 2014. And probably not even his friends were aware. In November of 2014, Harris spoke out about his problem on the You Made It Weird podcast with Pete Holmes. Were it not for his own confessions, we probably wouldn't have any other way of knowing that Harris Whittles was a heroin addict. And I guess this is a lesson for everyone. We can believe whatever we want, but probably we just never really know. So, you can believe whatever you want, but it doesn't mean that you're right. And Harris praised the use of drugs on another very confessional podcast episode when he went on WTF with Mark Maron. And the feeling that he always gave was of this weightlessness, really, towards the subject, and that his drug consumption was mostly under control and was done, by mere recreation, really. So it was just something that he did a lot, but was kind of in control of and just put to the side whenever he wanted. But you should really listen to those shows, those two in particular, especially the Pete Holmes one, because you can really see someone losing their grip. And this is more of a mental problem than a physical problem. And if you've ever had anyone close to you that has dealt with drug problems, then I believe these are really important. And these shouldn't even be the main Harris Whittles story lines, I guess, or the main legacy that Harris Whittles leaves us. But I do believe that it is a very important one, though. And his relation with drugs for a long time seemed to be, even healthy to a certain extent. There were no signs, or at least public signs, that Harris had begun to shoot up heroin, regardless of his history with OxyContin, which is something we don't really have in Europe. We have equivalents, but OxyContin is a similar opiate, but not the same opiate as heroin, I think. Not too sure. But it's not too far apart, for people who think, oh, this is medication, it's just being ignorant, really, because it is opium, it is pretty much the same thing. This is more of a European thing, though, because we don't get too much of that. So if you listen to the You Made It Weird episode, I think it is pretty telling from Pete Holmes' reaction when he discovers this, this heroin addiction of Harris's. My point is that people can be doing all sorts of things with drugs, and you can be judgmental and think that someone is on drugs when they simply are not. Or even worse, you can think that you know that they're okay and they are not. Harris Whittles, as a part of our lives, was a distributor of joy and happiness in general, and reminded us not to take everything so seriously, whether something was important or not. So on the top of the hours of laughter that Harris gave us, to me the existence of a person with these characteristics in Hollywood also has a symbolic weight for me. The fact that Harris Whittles even existed in the industry spectrum proves that, contrary to what many people say or believe, we do not have to be structured or functional to achieve considerable success in show business. Or, more importantly, we do not need that to be embraced and loved by other humans and artists. I believe that, unlike what happened with Harris, premature death does not have to be what our own ghosts or demons intended for us. What is most important is that those ghosts come out through our talent and that we keep our hearts in the right place. Goodbye, Harris. We will miss you. So that was my sort of eulogy for Harris Whittles. There's been a lot of mourning in this podcast, as the last 12 months have been full of people passing away. This was supposed to be a comedy podcast, but, I guess there have been some bumps along the way in that particular area. I guess they're my bumps. My bumps. My bumps. My lovely lady lumps. Check it out. So, enough of that now, and definitely enough of Fergie for the rest of the year. It is time for Sleaford Mods. Okay, so I had a chat with Jason Williamson and Andrew Fern after their show at the Nós Alive Festival in Lisbon this past summer. I wasn't necessarily surprised by the quality of their live show, but most people in the crowd seem to be adapting to seeing someone doing a sort of mixture between rapping and spoken word with such intensity as Jason, and with someone else just basically clicking a button on a laptop to set off the beats while having a drink or two and vaping off his e-cig or whatever they're called, what we can virtually assume was an extensive amount of weed, which was Andrew. I really enjoyed our chat, and Jason and Andrew and I talked a lot about audiences and also about self-delusion and their views on economy and breaking through after becoming 40. Both guys were a lot of fun, and it was a delight having a conversation with these intelligent humans. But there's one thing I shouldn't let just pass. There's just this is a tiny thing, guys, but still it stuck in my mind through all these months in which I didn't post this. That was, I generally thought that we had, a really fun time, and then something stuck in me in which maybe I thought Jason was bored, or something. But I didn't feel like it was boring, and I generally do try to, generally understand when people are tired, and be respectful of that. But, I guess that, Jason and Andrew had already been doing promotional interviews for a while, and I mean, even though I don't want my work to be just an interview or just promotion, promo time at festivals is basically the main occasion on which I am given a lot of time to record these shows with my guests, so yeah, whatever. But when my time with Jason and Andrew came, it was not only after the show, as they'd been talking for at least 20 minutes to other people. So, I mentioned this because really it starts off really great, and actually is really great until just the very end. I'm not complaining. I have no reason to complain. This was really good, but as you will find, I believe, and I hope. But we were having a lot of fun during the interview. But at some point, right at the end, for some reason, towards the end of our scheduled time, Jason had become, I don't think he was bored, really, but I think he was just really tired of doing interviews, and after the show and all. But the only real reason I'm mentioning this is, so that you're not surprised if by the end of the episode, you hear someone huffing and puffing, while someone else is talking. So, Jason, man, I love you, but after listening to our chat for a few times, that's definitely not on me. So whatever. But, Andrew seemed to be having a blast and wanting to keep going forever, it seems. Either way, this was great. And we'll have even more fun in the future, I guess, in the next time. It was a lot of fun, and I thank you guys for your time. It really was fun. So here is my chat with Jason and Andrew of Sleaford Mods.
Sitting. I just lost all my English skills.
Don't worry. I lost mine a long time ago.
Yeah. Sound quite good. Cool.
My name's Jason Williamson from Sleaford Mods.
I'm Andrew Fern from Sleaford Mods.
And there are our guests on Made of Things. How are you guys?
All right, you?
Good, yeah.
I'm doing excellent. A little bit powdered in the nose. Not powdered in the nose, but there's a lot of dust. Well, this is starting off well.
Am I on Mars?
Starting out, I'm powdered noses. Are you for or against powdered noses?
Against. Well, I don't oppose anybody doing it.
No.
But personally,
I think anyone should do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, if you want to do it. If you want to do it, do it.
No. I don't. Not really. Not willingly, I mean.
No, all right. Here, have some.
Yeah.
Get it down, yeah.
How was the show for you guys? I saw most of it because I had another interview. But
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
We're getting a bit of an idea of how our festival goes now. I mean, I don't know whether I wouldn't say we were lucky with Glastonbury, but Glastonbury really was good.
Yeah, it was.
We played Heroin recently and in France, and it seemed like people didn't really know who we were as much as far as the festival crowd goes. So we were a bit concerned today with how it would go.
Yeah.
But it was very different, and you have to remember that it's always different. It's always a different experience. I think bands that get into their routine a little bit, they maybe come across as arrogant because they're too in their routine, and you have to remember that every gig is a different people and a different experience. Otherwise,
what do you find yourselves reacting most to?
Well, sometimes, I don't react very well to a crap audience. I really pick up on it. But today was brilliant, really, really good.
Oh, so you don't even need hecklers. Like you yourselves are the hecklers.
Hecklers.
Yeah, they fucking won't. Yeah,
they won't. They've got no.
Nobody really heckles us, do they?
They've got no power.
Are they intimidated?
Well, I just think they're really into it. They're just enjoying it, aren't they? You know what I mean?
I mean, like I say, Heroin was the only gig we've really had where doing our own gigs have all been sell out. Everybody has been there because they know why they're there, and it's been a great night. You know what I mean? So anyone that's gonna try and spoil it. Everybody else is going to do the job for us. Everybody else is going to get out. You don't want to be here. You know what I mean? So. Yeah.
Do you find yourselves engaging with hecklers? Because there's some British acts sometimes, not that means anything, but sometimes they engage. Sometimes it works for the show. Sometimes,
we do. Yeah, I mean, a couple of times. It's only happened a couple of times, but there's an art to doing it as well. It's like if someone's being really abusive, you just got to keep your cool because you just end up looking even worse than them. Do you know what I mean?
That hasn't really been the problem. I mean, the only real problem is the opposite, where you just had a fan who's obsessive, and there was that guy in Hitchin, was it? He wanted you to sign something in the middle of the gig. He was just like in the middle of a song. And he wanted him to sign something.
So in the end, I got in and signed it, and everyone was well pissed off, weren't they?
That was funny. It worked. It just always works. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
If you're going to be an ass, you don't necessarily need to be rewarded for it.
No, completely. You reward yourself for it, don't you? Or rather, the crowd do.
Well, there's professionalism.
Here's the turn.
There's professionalism, and then there's not being able to step out of your bubble for a moment because you're such a fucking perfectionist. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And that, which is sort of bullshit, by the way, and self-delusion. So it's about being real. So what if something goes a bit array or something? It's reality. You know what I mean? It's not.
Are most people self-delusional, you think, in the music business?
There's a lot of it. Yeah, completely. I think a lot of people have to be in order to get where they've gotten, because if they weren't, they wouldn't get anywhere because they're fucking useless.
I said there's
zero talent, a lot of gap.
But I would say, like, people in the industry that are part of the mainstream industry that we've worked with, we've been a breath of fresh air to them, working with them, and they've told us that, I mean, in so many ways, because if they've got some young band or whatever, some boring band or whatever, they've got to smile and be nice and everything and do their job. But with us, they love it. They're really excited about it, like we are. So
you guys come across as very real, because there's a lot of politics in music, and it seems like the UK is full of that. And but there's a lot of that. Oh, bye. Bye. It's a glasses kind of company, I guess. I have no idea why that's happening. Maybe they sell a lot more sunglasses over here. That's fine.
I noticed a lot in the crowd.
But is it very meaningful to you guys that you're both past your 40s now? Like, yeah. So it's an unusual age to break through, right?
Really, yeah. I mean, that's really good, though, isn't it? You know, it sets a good example. I think blokes our age have, you know, come up to us and sort of like, this is great, you know.
It is. I'm 33 now, and I still hope to, you know, achieve what you guys are doing.
Sure, you know,
because someday I think I still have it in me, you know.
It's never too late. What matters is the idea, the idea and the execution of that idea. You know, that's all that matters.
If you want it, you know, I mean, I think we're both kind of musically alternate outside of the mainstream, you know. Even more than that, we're lost artists or whatever. You know what I mean? Not, you know, undiscovered artists or whatever. You know, so to strike the mainstream, I think, is a weird thing for us, but something we both relate to as well at the same time. You know what I mean? When I was younger, it annoyed me. You know, you'd watch Top of the Pops and you would slag everything off. And you'd hope that there'd be something good on it, you know. I mean, you still have you used to be negative, but you still have that positivity that there will be something good on it that would spur on the nation or whatever. You know what I mean?
The narrative is extremely interesting because, like, you guys, like, if you're pointing out what you don't like in society, and then it all of a sudden turns itself on its head, and it's positive to you, right? So all of a sudden you're like doing you know, major European festivals such as this one with something that is very, you know, that is, you know, very awesome, I guess this is the word, you know, like all of a sudden, is it very, you know, endearing to you guys, like this, we're making it, it's cool. You never know when you make it, do you?
No, I don't know, I suppose. I don't think it's very important, to be honest.
Exactly. I used the wrong words, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean, you need to.
It's such a thing, when you think about that kind of thing, you know, helping others or thinking about others, but that empathic thing, you know, it's, you burn out. I do it a lot. I'm too empathic all the time. I think about other people, but I'm interested in other people, so it's a double-edged sword, I suppose, you know.
There was someone who once said, I actually don't remember, but there was someone who once said 95% of everything is shit. Do you agree?
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah,
shit. It should be shit. It's like people that make mistakes in their lives and worrying about it. You're supposed to make mistakes in your life. How are you going to learn anything that you're going to do if you don't make any fucking mistakes?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially deep failure, right? It's cathartic, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yes, you learn a lot from it, and I think you have to go through that if, obviously, you need to go through that.
I think in whatever so-called modern times, you have to do that now, because what are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? You can't be discovered. Not everyone can have, you know, grow up having a wonderful experience, blah, 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 you know what I mean? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean your experience wasn't valid, it wasn't true, wasn't good, you know.
What are the other 5% that aren't shit to you guys?
What?
Yeah. What is not shit?
I don't know. Whatever you get interested in, you know.
But to you guys, what is? Like, apart from your own music, I guess.
Yeah, and I suppose the same thing. Anybody that's really, you know, I mean.
Grime at the minute, that's not shit.
I'm sorry?
Grime music.
Okay.
Some folk music I listen to, that's not shit. My wife's not shit. My kids aren't shit.
We aren't shit.
No, we aren't shit. No. We're definitely not shit. So those things. That's all that matters at the minute. So
I don't pick out any particular phrases from as a journalist or whatever I am. I don't care. But if there was a title and if I was writing about this, it'd be awesome. We are not shit. It's great. You know.
We're not shit.
The headline. We're not shit.
Yeah.
I'm not shit either. So we have something in common. There you go. But you guys, Nottingham. I've never been to Nottingham. Is it boring?
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's like anywhere. Well, it's boring. It's like anywhere.
Yeah. It's not, but again, it's not as well. You know, it's got a lot of good people there. If you go out at night and you know, go to a pub or whatever and go for a bit of a walk around,
the regular things, then
you'll have a great time. You'll have a great time. It's about nightlife, really. Nottingham. That's what it's got going on, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have some mates there, so maybe
it's all right. It's all right for a drink. Yeah, you ought to visit. It's all right. Yeah.
Fantastic. You guys Forest supporters?
No, don't support football.
Football at all? Okay,
No, I don't.
I don't.
Something else to do with you.
It's too fucking expensive, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's become very expensive over here too.
I mean, like elitist.
It's just shit. You know, I mean, it's good. You know, a lot of people I know are into it, but it's not my thing. You know.
Sure.
I don't know how they deal with it in modern times when it's so elitist. You know, like Liverpool, where they build a massive stadium in the poorest area of Liverpool, and but it's so cut off from the whole area. It didn't bring any wealth to the area. You know what I mean?
Furthermore, it makes it even worse, right?
Yeah. So it can be quite an ugly thing, I suppose.
Sure. You guys have a song called Corgi. I just remembered.
Yeah.
You guys have a song called Corgi. So you're basically talking about the symbol of the corgi, right, in England, what it represents, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because do you recommend the corgis as pets?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind one actually. To be honest, they're all right. Yeah, they're nice little dogs. Yeah, little dogs are they're easy to maintain.
I'm big on dogs, but corgis have big heads and small bodies. They're one of those breeds that have a big head. They look like Toby Jubs.
Yeah, a bit like the Royals, haven't they? Big heads,
and short legs.
Yeah,
big nose, big ears.
Not the breed of pig, really.
Yeah, it's not the one. Yeah.
Did you guys see a new recent online video, like a YouTube thing, which was the corgi who could not reach? He was lying down. He could not reach the tennis ball. Which was like a few inches away. Like it was almost, just like very, very close, but he could not reach it. Like and could not move. Just like
because he was too fat or something.
Yeah, did not move. Actually useless, but adorable.
Yeah, you wouldn't like to be a corgi, would you? Well, you probably would if you get a nice ass.
Well, I don't know. I think if you're British and you saw someone with corgis, you think, well,
they're a bit shit, aren't they?
They're not the breed.
Okay.
I grew up with loads of dogs. I grew up on a farm and we had tons of dogs. So I know quite a bit about dogs. And certain breeds are bred to have such bad illnesses and stuff for the sake of the style, it's a bit wrong.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
For the sake of being cute, I guess.
Yeah. The look.
You're cute, but you're useless.
Yeah. You've got breathing trouble. I think you're cute. It's not really right.
Bulldogs as well. Bulldogs.
Yeah.
I love bulldogs, but they're very.
Yeah, exactly.
It has a lot of health problems, right?
About. Yeah.
Right. Do you guys feel like this is more of a serious question, but because of austerity days, do you feel austerity is going to end anytime soon? Not really, isn't it?
No.
Because it's a huge thing all over Europe, but also in Portugal as well. Like we're really feeling it,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I could tell being here today.
You got to get up and make your money. That's what they're telling you. Most people can't. Most people haven't got the fucking will to. So, and most people haven't got the interest. Making money's boring. Do you know what I mean? Who wants to do that? And that's the climate. So unless you want to pull yourself out of the misery, by becoming financially successful, then you'll just end up in the misery, which is wrong.
It's like today though. I wanted to go and buy some tobacco. We got to the hotel. I went for a walk around a block. The hotel we're staying is like a 5-star hotel. We're in a corner, tried to buy some tobacco. There was like these really poor shops selling whatever they could sell. They had a few packets of cigarettes lined up, and it was all a bit of a charade to try and sell stuff. You know what I mean? And I kept saying everywhere, "Where's the tobacconist? Where's the no one's speaking English or whatever." I went to the train station, and it felt really poor. It felt really like there was a lack of communication there in the train station. You know what I mean? It wasn't like
it feels detached, right?
It felt detached, I see. Which I don't know how important that is, because the only way to bring that back is to gentrify it in some way. Once you've lost something like a local produce or something, you can't bring it back. You know what I mean? It's hard.
Yeah. Things just change.
You know
I guess.
What I'm saying though, if you kill small trade, it's hard to just bring it back just like that.
Yeah.
Because it was a cultural thing. It was building slowly, and you fucked it up. You know what I mean? It's like nature almost. You know what I mean?
Not to do any judgment on my behalf, but it's really very cool that you guys are speaking the truth from your perspective. You feel that that there's some sort of English legacy in that? Because it doesn't seem so common in the other countries. Because I don't know. I guess some authors in the past. Like, do you guys feel like you do what you do, right?
Yeah.
But and you have your own voice, obviously. But do you think that is a very positive thing that happens in the UK as opposed to other not so good things, such as the class system as well? So it's good to be speaking the truth. I mean.
Yeah. It's got to be done. Yeah. More people should do it.
Is it difficult? Have you fought any? Have you found any obstacles?
Not really. I mean, well, it's difficult. Yeah, of course it is. It takes you a long time to it took me a long time to do this. So, people need to live their lives and then make those choices. You know what I mean? People that are 21, 22, without trying to sound condescending, pretty much cut off from things. We've lived our lives, so this is the reason why we are the way we are. So.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing to say to young people. We've lived a life and you haven't, so you can't sing about anything. So, which isn't really true. I mean, like, you can still boil up your teenage or whatever views, your young view, and encapsulate it in some way. You're alive. You're a man now. You've got just as much opportunity as everybody else has. But maybe they feel like they haven't. And in Britain we have this concept of like the nanny state. That relieves people from thinking about what they want, and the government will do it for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we're running out of time now.
Nice one.
But just one last thing I would like to ask you, which is this goes on a podcast called Made of Things, and it's based on the assumption that you've dedicated yourselves to a life in doing art. So so it must have there must have been a moment in which you heard or read or saw something or experienced something that made you say, "Oh, I need to do this my whole life." Did you guys have that moment, and what was it? Not really?
Not really, no. You?
It's unusual. Most people do, but
I've always been like that. I've spent my whole life dodging in and out of shit jobs so that I can make music, and never giving up on the concept of making music in quite a blind way, with no security net or whatever. I'm not suggesting that people take that route, but I think at a young age it was something where I'd made that bed and I was prepared to take that path in life. You know what I mean? I had too many friends around me. I had too much of a friendship network of people to not be able to believe in myself. I thank all those people for it, because they were always encouraging me and telling me that I'm good at music, and they were good at music, a lot of these people, so it made it even more believable.
Yeah, brilliant. That's great. And you were just caught up in it then?
Yeah, I've just always been into it. Yeah.
It just happened. Okay,
yeah, sure.
Cool. Well, this is just one last thing, because I think, what you guys remind me of? You guys remind me the equivalent of the young ones 20 years ago. 30 years ago.
I love that. Rick Mail is one of my heroes.
He's gone now, unfortunately.
He died last year, unfortunately.
I was really sad.
I was upset.
I was very upset for a whole, like a week or so.
Usually those kind of people get like a news at 10 announcement and stuff, but I don't know whether he got one or not. But I've been watching Bottom recently as well.
Oh, I ordered the whole DVDs when he passed. I was like, I need to finally buy these, so I just got a load of them. Bottom is really fantastic. So you guys remind me of the young ones. That's what I think. But okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Cheers, guys.
Nice one.
And I hope you guys come back soon again, because the show is cracking.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Cheers, guys. Bye. So that was my conversation with Jason and Andrew. Was that fun? That was fun. Probably much more fun than what I had initially announced, but I can be wrong too. We can all be wrong, but you won't go wrong with liking the Made of Things podcast page on Facebook or following at Made of Things Pod on Twitter. You guys should go and do that. We'll have more episodes coming up soon, so please subscribe on iTunes if you haven't already, and you can download all the episodes on our WordPress page. See you soon, guys. Thanks for lending your ears and mind and private parts of your body to Made of Things. Bye!